Yeah, it's in line. While you're talking, I was bringing up your pre-recording questionnaire, and one of the things that stood out with what
Yeah.
you wrote was how many people in the mental health care are left behind. And this kind of makes
Yes.
me feel that way too. And it goes back to that invisibleness and not being able to see it and misunderstanding things. So it sounds like a lot of what you're saying, you're just so like me, so passionate. Like you're probably like me, we're very hyper sensitive. We see things that most people don't see, but we have to teach our
Yes.
patients, we have to teach our parents that we work with to see the things that we see so clearly. And I think that's the gifts that
Yeah.
hopefully we give to our families. At least that's what I hope in my heart is that because that was the whole reason, I mean, opening up is why I wanted to do this podcast. I've had 30 years of
Mm.
experience and I'm like, how do I get this out? Like all these things I see, all these things I know to be able to get out to the public. And that's why it's so exciting to talk with someone like yourself because you're so engaging and you have such passion. And I love meeting other professionals that feel like I do.
I would 100% agree with everything you've said. It's because we're so one of the things that drives me is a frustration with how few people I can serve in my day to day. And I did not get into this field to help a small amount of people. I got into this field to help a lot of people because I know what this pain is like and I know how these problems impact families. I think if you could talk to my parents, they would say, I wish we knew how much Ali was struggling with anxiety, with selective mutism, with and if I did pull my wife into this room and she you ask her like, oh, so this flossing thing, she would say, I had no idea because I hid it for so long. Even as a licensed practicing clinical psychologist who treated misophonia, I spent a lot of time keeping it to myself before I told my wife about it because Dr. E, I was second guessing myself. Is it me? Like, she's just fine. What's wrong with me? As someone who treats this problem, it took me so long to realize, oh my gosh, I'm experiencing misophonia myself. It's developed into this thing. So one of the things that I really believe strongly is we can always find a way to validate the experience that someone else is having. We might not agree with it. We might be frustrated by it. We might want to change it. And whatever the person is experiencing, that is their true, authentic experience that they're having.
So
The emotion they're having is the emotion they're
absolutely,
having.
meeting them where they're at and really trusting, and I always say, "Give words for their feeling. You seem frustrated right now, or you seem angry right now."
Yeah.
Because a lot of
Yeah.
kids in general that we work with kids, teens, and adults, but a lot of individuals we
Yeah.
work with have a really hard time expressing their feelings, and so giving them those means,
Yes.
and I think I would like to spend some time going over strategies to support those affected by misophonia and SM because when you
Yeah.
talk to our listeners, they want the meat and potatoes. They're like, "Give us the strategies,
Yeah.
give us the info." So, as much as I love explaining it, and I think we both have done such a like you especially, get such a great job of talking about it and parents going, "Whoa, my son has that. Whoa, I have that. This makes sense to me
Yeah.
now." Let's kinda talk about strategies. What can parents do to support their child?
First, be on the lookout for this, that this is a possibility. That I do think this is very hard as a parent. And it is absolutely, I think, Dr. E, one of the most critical skills that we can share to parents is to approach these situations a little bit like a scientist, is to try to understand, okay, my kid is having a hard time here, let me try to understand what are all the things that could be going along with it. And you said it very eloquently before, is it the environment, is it an overwhelming sensory experience? It could be that. Is it not knowing what to say? Is it something specific to the interaction? Let's enter. Hopefully, the goal of this, or hopefully, one thing that comes out of this conversation is now you have one more tool to understand this. That is it a disgust is of a sound? Is it an anger of a sound? Is there one particular sound that is so overwhelming it's blocking everything else out? Because Dr. E, the thing that my patients so often share, the younger kids just will share more that it's gross, icky. It just makes them mad that like "Ah, I just that sound I can't." They'll have more of an aversive reaction like that to a sound. More teenagers, young adults, they'll share more of an anger or a disgust. They might be able to keep it in, but find it incredibly just like it's like vomit. It's this is this disgusting thing that certain people do
So
and they
how
just want to
so
stay
how do
away
you
from it.
answer the family that says, "My son won't or my daughter won't hang with dad. We can't go out to eat with dad. He can't stand how dad chews and how dad breathes." Like dad has to chew
Yeah.
because he has to eat and dad has to breathe. So what
So yeah, Dad can't stop
right, like, I
breathing.
mean, I understand you can eat in a different room, and that's not, gonna really
Yeah.
sustain the family in life, like, that's not good. But the breathing part,
Yeah.
like, unless they're never together, how do you so what do you
Yeah.
do? What do you do in that situation?
This
It's
is
a big
where
question,
we
but, like,
have
this is hard,
the
and we've had
yeah.
to, like, do desensitization.
Yeah. This is where I think we need to just pour the validation into the room. It's not only the child or the person
Yep.
struggling with misophonia who needs validation, because this is not their fault. They did not ask for this. It is just the way their brain is wired right now.
Mhm.
Right? This is not the kid's fault. At the same time,
Right.
we also need to validate the parent. How difficult must this be for you to
Exactly.
hear that your child is disgusted by the sound of you breathing? That's really you know, that is really, really hard. Kids can sometimes be so honest in a way that is just can make you feel so torn down,
Yeah.
right? So that's very hard to hear. So validating too of the person who's the target of the misophonia that this is a horrible thing to feel. Like something you never even thought of, something that's not even in your control, your child finds it so abhorrent that they are refusing to go into these situations if you're there. That feels terrible. And so that's a first place. Well, number one, starting place, let's enter this into your tool chest or tool belt,
Yeah.
whatever
Toolbox.
your collection of tools there. Your toolbox there. Thank you, Doctor. That's what I was looking for. This is a new tool, a new way of understanding things. Number two, we need to validate everyone involved. It's no one's fault. It's no one's fault. This is just part of the diversity of how humans experience the world. And let's make sure we can we can unpack those feelings and make everyone feel heard and understood. Those that's a starting place of the meat and potatoes. That's where and sometimes there's a lot there. Like you can't start to make a
Right.
change until all these feelings are kind of out in
So
the open a little
acknowledging
bit.
it, assessing it, getting it out in the open, dealing with the pink elephant in the room, and
Yeah.
helping parents not personalize it and get frustrated at their child to me is the first step too, because children react to their
Yeah.
parents more than, you know what I mean, more than anything, even though, it goes the other way too. I mean, what I've done in these situations is we've worked on ways to desensitize, to chewing, to
Yeah.
breathing, and working in like a hierarchical way and, coming in. And it takes time, but it works. But because I've seen that connection with high expectation and that hyper awareness to that parent's like sense of approval, we've had to work on that because until that was actually worked on, the child was just so hyper sensitive to that. To that.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is just like there's many pathways into misophonia, there's also many ways in which we can approach it. So historically, this was understood more as an anxiety problem, and the main approach that was brought was much more exposure based. Let's get people more used to the sounds. That's one tool. What we also know now is it's not so much anxiety in the moment. There is anxiety before if you know you're about to eat and you know this is a situation that triggers misophonia, you're going to be anxious about it. For me, when I saw my wife get up to go get her floss, it made my heart start racing. You know, I knew what was coming, and I'd sort of brace myself, like, oh my gosh, here it comes. Like, how bad is it going to be today? So all of that was
Yep.
anxiety, but In the moment, misophonia is much more likely to trigger anger and disgust than it is a fear response, like anxiety, stress, that kind of stuff. So we have more tools here. So we have a lot of
Yeah.
tools here, right? So one thing is we can do some more desensitization, we can do more exposure, we can record these sounds, help kids and adults get used to the sound in different ways. What's fun now is we have a lot of tools available where if we record that sound, we can change it. We can slowly get people more used to it. There's a lot of tools there. But then there's also how do we how do we mediate the sound in the moment? So that could be wearing headphones. It could be wearing earplugs. It could be being a bit farther away from the source.
Breathing, calming exercises.
It could, yeah, you can do some emotional skills that change the way you feel. A big one that has helped me personally, if I am Dr. E, if I'm really absorbed in what we are watching, my mind tunes out the misophonia.